Okay, here we go. So, um, great to see you. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. Give our audience your name and what is it that you do?
Awesome. Great to see you too, Sam. You're one of my favorite people. My name is Jill Fischer, and I am an energy hypnotherapist. So I combine energy healing with hypnotherapy, and I've been doing this for about 15 years. Love it. It feels like my soul's calling. I'm
Hmm.
highly intuitive, and lately I've been focusing on helping women with wealth, build wealth
Hmm.
strategies, and release barriers that are in their energetic systems, and flourish forward. It's awesome.
Hmm. Wonderful. So do you have a specific name for the modality or your specialty that you do?
Uh, the name that I've coined it as is Express Energetics. And so it's a process where we use muscle testing and follow your specific energy to find where your blocks are. And over the time that I've worked in energy and hypnotherapy, I've seen how much information can be in our energy system, in our body, that's not even ours,
Hmm.
that it's inherited from past ancestry, it's absorbed from the culture, it's connected to our early childhood, and this creates barriers for us to live our life the way we want to live it. And so the energy testing to be able to find that goes beyond your brain, and it's uncannily accurate. So Express
Hmm.
Energetics is the name of the process.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Um, and could you tell us who is it that you love working with who loves working with you?
Hmm. People that are similar to me. Go figure,
Mhm.
hey? That's probably
Yeah.
everybody's answer. So, middle-aged women that are wanting to claim their power, their personal power, not power over others, but their personal power, and make a shift in their life. Either they're newly empty nesters, or maybe they've gone through divorce, or they're starting to open up to more than how they've seen their life be. Almost like a not midlife crisis, but
Mhm.
middle-aged women that are wanting more for their life. They want to have like a legacy. They want to have an impact in the world.
Hmm. Gotcha. Gotcha. Wonderful. Wonderful. And so these next two questions, now let's really dig into them and spend a little time with them.
Sure.
So why don't you tell us why you're so passionate about what you do? And if there's a story behind it, like
Yeah.
maybe relate a story to tell us why you're so passionate about this.
Well, okay, I used to say nobody is more surprised than me that I'm a hypnotherapist, right? Because I didn't see it coming. It was part of my healing from a difficult divorce. And I had two little kids at the time. And now I say nobody's more surprised that I'm into finance. It's like, wow, I didn't see this coming either. So, what I found is that with hypnotherapy and energy healing, there's a certain type of person that looks for that kind of healing, and it's a smaller demographic, right? And um, and it's great. There's nothing wrong with it. And my daughter's 19. She recently got connected to this financial group in Vancouver that started doing some training, and I saw her change. And so my daughter still lives with me. And I've been a single mom her whole life. And so we're very, very tight. And then I'm watching her change, and I've been involved in self development her whole life, right? But sometimes you're a little too close for people to hear the messages. And all of a sudden,
Mhm.
something goes wrong, and she's like, well, universe has my back. It's always working for me. And she slough it off, and I'm like, who is that? Right? she couldn't hear it from me, but she could hear it from this financial group that was also doing self-development. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, she's changing for the better. And I was taking note, and so she started sharing it with me, and then I started getting involved and looking into it more and more, and it did great things for reorganizing my business and saving on taxes and organizing. Like, I learned some very pragmatic tools on investing and saving and growing and being tax efficient, and I was surprised how interested I was in this, because money just never really, like, of course it's great to have money, but it never really did anything for me. It was kind of like put me to sleep. But now it's actually waking me up, and I'm like, hey, combining energy healing and hypnotherapy and coaching and the transformational world into helping good people make more money is going to make a huge, significant impact. Huge. Because quite often healers struggle with money. And there's some particular nuances that healers have about money that other people don't. Healers and artists, there's a similar persecution energy and energy that we can inherit from our ancestry, and that stops us from moving forward and becoming wealthy. And when you look at money as an amplifier of who you are, healers are good people. They're good people, right? And so to give them resources to amplify that goodness into the world, that's what caught my attention. And what I've noticed is the difference that I can provide for people to help them with their finance, with doing the healing work of the subconscious, but also doing the left brain practical steps. Right? You can be freed up and make more money, but if you don't know the practical steps, it's like, well, then you go to town on Amazon and buy a bunch of stuff rather than investing it and growing it. So I've become much more interested in this. And again, I didn't see it coming. And it's so valuable to get behind women, to get behind healers, to help them be abundant in the practical sense, as well as the internal energetic sense, so that it's build uponable and they can keep growing and growing, and it funds their soul's calling of being a healer in the world. Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's my story. And my daughter, this is so funny. Okay, my son, he just graduated from business school at university, right? And one of his distinctions is international finance. Now that made sense for him because he's always been analytical like that. And he's just like, academics make sense for his brain. My daughter that brought me into finance, she's the artist, right? She's the one that's like, she's going to rule the world because she's so powerful. Rule the world in a good way. But I didn't see it coming from her. Like, that was so unexpected. So unexpected.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm wondering if you would like to perhaps do an exercise or give us a client story to give people a sense of the power of the work that you do.
Okay, so yeah, okay. A client came to mind that I offer these training courses about how money works in North America, right? And the practical, how investments work, how insurance policies work with investments, and blah blah blah. And this woman I was working with, she got scared. She was like, often finance activates shame and guilt, and like we did something wrong, or we should know better, but nobody teaches us this, and how are we supposed to know, but we're supposed to just know, like all that convoluted stuff comes up, and it's pretty common. And so that came up for her, and she said she's scared. And I went, what are you scared of? And she said, well, I'm scared, like I feel like I should be better off than where I'm at, and I should be handling my money, like I feel embarrassed that I don't have a better handle on my money. And so I said, okay, well, let's do some energy work. right? So we just shifted over to, okay, let's clear the energy. So right now, if you rub your hands together, Sam, and you place your hands a little bit apart, and anybody watching this, you can do the same, and you're just proving to your brain that there's energy in the palms of your hands, right? There should be like a tingling sensation or warmth. And if there's not, it could be that you're dehydrated. Your palms should be a little bit moist to be sufficiently hydrated, right? So you've got energy in the palms of your hand. So there's a governing meridian, so a circuit of electricity in your body called a governing meridian. It's from the tip of your nose through the front of your forehead, top of your head, back of your head, goes down your spine, between your legs and up and around, right? A whole circle. So with the energy of your palms of your hand, you can go like this and move the energy that's stuck in your governing meridian. And so when you move energy that's stuck there, it's also connected to your nervous system. So when things happen and we haven't had the ability to process them, because maybe it's happening so fast or it's so intense, we don't know how. We know how to shut down because we've been taught that from birth of stuffing our emotions. And then it just festers in our nervous system and hovers there until we process it. And what happens is that when it sits in our nervous system, we get compensating behavior for it. So it could be something that we're told as a child that rich people are bad, or power corrupts all, or money doesn't grow on trees, or you don't deserve that, you haven't been a good girl or a good boy, or there's something like that that could easily land in our subconscious and fester in our nervous system. So by doing this movement and addressing what that is, we can actually shift it from that stuckness, and now it's moving, and now it's going to be able to integrate into our body. So for this client, it was shame. What she was describing was shame around money. So we just did this. We went like this, and you can do it with me. I release shame from my body now and all time space reality. I release shame from my body now and all time space reality. You could get very specific and say, I release shame around money. I release shame around deserving. I release shame to be wealthy from my body now and all time space reality, and then shake it out. Just kind of shake it out of your energy system. So that's an example of the express energetics, how fast it can be. And we're using meridians, traditional Chinese medicine, acupressure points, and circuits of electricity to go along those energetic lines with the energy of our hands to move it, right? And then I love actually doing an install as well. So releasing and then installing, so that you're addressing, if you think of polarities, if you think of the opposite ends of a spectrum, right, where shame can be on one end, and then there could be a deserving wealth for being me on the other, right? So we could install that. So that's the opposite way. So we go from the back and we come forward and we say, I install, I deserve big money, miracles, and wealth just for being me into my body now and all time space reality. I install big money, miracles, and wealth into my body now and all time space reality. I install big money, miracles, and wealth into my body now and all time space reality. And then just kind of shake it out, let it integrate. So what that's doing is pulling us from those polarity ends, those when we get stuck on always, never, black, white, the opposite ends, we're in a very slow energy field of really where we live in this 3D world and the physical, and to bring in the metaphysics, to bring in higher frequency energies into that. We want to be in like all of the nuances in between those polarities, including them, and all of the accesses in between. And that's where the miracle zone is. That's where the flow state is. That's where the, you look super lucky because you're always winning. Things always work out for you. That's in the nuances, right? Where we can warp time, we can warp finance, we can warp our healing, and bend what normally is like a chronological time passing, where things happen much faster in unexpected ways, is to release from those polarities. So it's a release and an install, and it doesn't have to be 1-to-1. It could be 3-to-1. It could be the other 1-to-3, right? The ratio is not important.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Jill.
You're welcome. Oh, and then she went forward with straightening up her finances, by the way, just to finish that loop.
Yeah, yeah, wonderful, wonderful. So if people want to learn more about you, get in touch with you, where would they go to find you online?
Well, I have a website, my name, Jill Fischer, and it's fischer.ca because I live in Canada. That is a where you can actually book a session with me, a free consultation with me, and we can connect from there. You'll see the different information about flourishing there. Yeah, there's all kinds of information there.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. And so if you were speaking to a friend or a colleague about the Evolutionary Business Council, what would you tell them about why they should get involved with the Evolutionary Business Council?
Hmm. I often say that the Evolutionary Business Council is like my soul family, my chosen family. It's where I've created long-term friendships that are also business colleagues and friends that I would lean into. If things go sideways, they're right there and they step in. So the community of people is really what the work itself is exquisite and helpful and relevant and cutting edge. I love the deep dives. I love the retreats. I learn loads from it. And what goes deeper for me is the connection with the people, because you're connecting with thought leaders from around the world that are courageous enough to stretch themselves into their soul's calling, right? They've created a business around what calls to them to bring to the world, to help the world, and they've devoted themselves to it. And so these are high level leaders that have there's a weaving of high integrity, desire, courage, visionary, collaboration. I find that if I look at my life the way it is right now, I have a number of friends that I have met through the Evolutionary Business Council that have supported me in so many different ways, and I've supported them. So family, I would say soul's family in a nutshell.
Beautiful, beautiful. And one last question for you. And I'm curious about like what sort of challenges are your clients working with that they think is just normal part of day-to-day life before you work with them that really shouldn't be considered as normal, shouldn't really be something they put up with?
Well, I just got off a call with somebody that was talking about how her and her husband are struggling living month to month, barely making it, always in this survival energy to make it through each month's, payments at the end of the month. There's like a unfortunate tolerance of survival that a lot of us have fallen into, where it's, just breaking through, like coming up for air from the surface of the water, of like almost drowning and then coming up for air and grabbing a breath and then swimming again. And some of the clients I work with have addictions, and the addictions are just to get to baseline. It's not to get high and have this thrill. It's that they're operating in so much pain, and quite often they don't even know what the pain's from. They might have some glimmer, but the subconscious and the energy work to be able to identify where that comes from and then process it. So they're free to be who they are, but there seems to be a common theme of like operating in struggle and pain, and a compensating behavior. Like it could be an addiction, it could be alcohol, it could be Netflix, it could be gambling, it could be really anything to get some reprieve or dopamine hit from that constant pain that they're living in. And a commonality, right? Like of that's just how life is, like a conceding to life has to be that painful, and it doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah. So working with them and helping them heal what's that pain is that's festering inside, so that they actually can get some reprieve, and then talking about like what actually sings to your heart, like what actually is going to be for you, something you can put in front of yourself to look forward to, that's healthy, right? And discover that for each person. And it's a whole different way of living, where they're living actually towards blossoming and flourishing rather than pain management.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Jill.
You're welcome. You're welcome.